Most people know Kim Jong-un. They know the man who controls North Korea, one of the world's most secretive and heavily militarized countries. But there is another member of the Kim family who has spent years moving quietly through the background. Her name is Kim Yo-jong. For a long time, almost nobody outside North Korea knew who she was. Even when cameras captured her standing beside her brother, she looked like a minor figure in the background. But today, she is one of the most visible members of North Korea's leadership. And that raises a much more interesting question. How does someone go from being almost completely unknown, to becoming one of the most important people in a dictatorship? The answer begins long before Kim Yo-jong ever appeared beside her brother. Kim Yo-jong was born in 1987 into the family that has ruled North Korea for generations. Her father was Kim Jong-il. Her grandfather was Kim Il-sung, the founder of North Korea. But her childhood was very different from what you might expect. While millions of North Korean children grew up inside an isolated country, Kim Yo-jong reportedly spent part of her childhood thousands of miles away, in Switzerland. She and her brother, Kim Jong-un, attended school under assumed identities. To the other students, they were simply Korean children living abroad. Very few people knew the truth. But think about what that meant. A future member of one of the world's most secretive ruling families was experiencing life in a completely different society while being carefully protected from discovery. So why was she there? And what did she learn from living outside North Korea? We may never know the full answer. But we do know what happened after she returned. She disappeared from public attention for years. Then, in 2011, her father died. And suddenly, cameras caught a young Kim Yo-jong standing close to her brother during his funeral. At the time, most people watching had no idea that the woman in the background would eventually become an important political figure. But Kim Jong-un was beginning to build his own power. And his sister was moving with him. At first, Kim Yo-jong's role looked simple. She appeared beside her brother at official events. She helped coordinate appearances. She was present during important meetings. But then her position began to change. Kim Yo-jong became closely associated with North Korea's propaganda and political messaging. And that matters more than it might sound. In North Korea, the image of the Kim family is not just a public relations issue. It is part of the political system itself. The government controls newspapers, television, public messaging and the images through which citizens see their leaders. Kim Yo-jong became part of that machinery. And eventually, she stopped being merely someone standing behind Kim Jong-un. She began speaking publicly. Her official statements concerning South Korea and the United States were often harsh and confrontational. Suddenly, the outside world was no longer asking, "Who is Kim Yo-jong?" It was asking, "How much influence does she have?" And that question has never received a completely clear answer. This is where Kim Yo-jong's story becomes difficult to separate from the rumors surrounding her. Kim Jong-un's government has faced international criticism over repression and human rights abuses. Because Kim Yo-jong is a senior figure within that government, some analysts have speculated about her influence over major decisions. There have also been dramatic claims that she was involved in some of the regime's most controversial actions. But here's the important part. A claim is not the same thing as proof. North Korea is extremely difficult for outsiders to investigate. Information coming from inside the leadership is limited, and many stories about powerful members of the Kim family cannot be independently verified. So claims that Kim Yo-jong personally ordered specific assassinations, or that she is secretly the person controlling every decision Kim Jong-un makes, should be treated with caution. The same applies to sensational stories about her private life. What we can say with much greater confidence is that her public political role has grown significantly. And that brings us to the question that makes her future so important. What happens if Kim Jong-un can no longer rule? This is where Kim Yo-jong suddenly becomes more than an interesting political figure. She is part of the Kim family. She has experience inside the regime. She understands its propaganda system and political structure. And she has already demonstrated that she can speak publicly on behalf of the government. But there is a problem. Being powerful inside the regime does not automatically make someone the next leader. And North Korea has never had a female supreme leader. So who would actually be accepted by the country's powerful political and military elite? We simply don't know. But there is another name that makes the succession question even more complicated. Kim Ju-ae. Kim Jong-un's daughter. In recent years, Kim Ju-ae has appeared increasingly often beside her father at major state events, including military ceremonies and events connected to North Korea's strategic weapons. Her growing visibility has led some analysts to speculate that she could eventually have a major role in the future of the Kim dynasty. But there is an important distinction. Public appearances do not, by themselves, prove that she has been formally designated as successor. So right now, we're looking at two very different possibilities. Kim Yo-jong is an experienced adult already operating inside the regime. Kim Ju-ae represents the next generation. One has political experience. The other has the family lineage of the future. And the most important question is still unanswered. Which one would North Korea's elite actually trust with power? For now, Kim Jong-un remains firmly in control. So we cannot say that Kim Yo-jong will become the next leader. And we cannot say that Kim Ju-ae will either. But Kim Yo-jong has already achieved something remarkable. She went from being an almost unknown member of the Kim family to becoming one of the most important and recognizable political figures in North Korea. And perhaps the biggest mistake would be to think of her simply as Kim Jong-un's sister. Because her story is really about something much bigger. How power survives inside a dynasty built around one family. If that dynasty ever enters a period of crisis, the woman who spent years standing just behind the leader could suddenly become one of the most important people in the country. But there is one thing we still don't know. Will Kim Yo-jong be the person who carries the Kim dynasty forward? Or is the regime already preparing the next generation? Kim Yo-jong or Kim Ju-ae? One represents experience. The other represents the future. And if the Kim dynasty ever faces its next succession crisis, the answer could determine the future of North Korea. Who do you think would have the better chance of ruling? Tell us your prediction in the comments. And if you want more carefully researched stories about the world's most secretive leaders and political regimes, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.